Hey, what's up, Bat Rabbis? This is Drew. We got some really, really cool new merchandise that we want to tell you about real quick before the show starts. So first of all, we got a brand new shirt. It's a collaboration with @InsaneClamPasta on Instagram. He's a super funny comedian. He has the best account on the internet. You got to check it out. He did a shirt for us where it's Danzig, and he has his own deli called Salam I Demon. And that shirt's for sale on his Instagram, so check that out. We also have brand new beach towels, real beach towels that you can buy. Go to terriercult.com, go to Friends of the Cult. You'll see the 2 Minutes Late Night merch. You can buy all our t-shirts, and you can buy an actual beach towel with our faces on it. Rub your butts all over it. Ben Kohler loves it. And don't forget, we also have our signature scent from Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab called Whifflash. So check them out, too. Buy all that stuff, and the more that you buy, the less I have to interrupt the podcast before it starts. Bye!
Wow! It's 2 minutes to late night! All right, what's up, Milk? We watched Danzig video from the last album, and we have a lot of thoughts about this milk that was in there.
It's definitely paint, right?
I don't think so. I think it's probably. I think
it's just expired milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just old milk.
Yeah.
But not too old because it's still like it still runs. Like it's still like if you drop it on something it'll like still move.
But I think Danzig was like, "Listen, we can't afford a proper slow-mo camera, but we
I'm
need
sorry. I'm sorry when I blew the whole budget on these cat gloves.
I blew the whole budget, but they're really sick. They make my fingers look really long and tall, like I am, because I am a tall man.
I'm long and tall.
I'm long
they
and
call
tall.
me long, tall Danzig.
He's got those stupid fucking, like, these weird cat gloves on in 2 different videos, the same gloves.
Yes.
And he just looks like a
They're on
Todd
the album
McFarlane
cover,
Venom
too.
cover.
Yeah, they're on the album cover, too.
Are they? Ugh.
Yeah, he was like, "This is my new thing."
It's like his version of like a comb over. It's like his comb over for being short.
Is that he has
He's
long
like,
fingers?
I've got really long fingers. Like, so like he figures like when people see the video, like new fans being introduced to him, they'll be like, "Wow, what long fingers! He must be a tall guy."
That guy's fucking huge.
He's got to be. I mean, look at the size of those fingers. He's got like basketball player fingers.
Yeah, he's got huge fingers, big muscles. He's got to be huge.
Yeah, this was all one big endeavor by Danzig to prove to people that he can palm a basketball so that then people would think he could also dunk.
Oh, my God.
Look at this guy. He's got to be 40. He looks like one of those like Marvel Select action figures that they sell in like video game stores for $40 that have no like moving parts on them.
No, they're the Marvel Selects that are also in the Rite Aid.
Yeah.
Because they're in Rite Aids now. Like you can buy an
this
action
show's brought to
figure.
you by Rite Aid. If you need Band-Aids and also weird Transformers from 8 years ago, Rite Aid.
My mom got me this, and it's not even my birthday.
Isn't that cool? Speaking of transforming, this weekend I watched an indie wrestling. I guess it's not indie wrestling. There's like a new wrestling company, and they had a show, and there's a wrestler called Luchasaurus, and I saw him, and I was like, that's exactly who Danzig wants to be. He wants to be a wrestler who is a dinosaur. Like, just also is a dinosaur. Anyway, folks, you're listening to 5 Minutes to Cast Night, the 2 Minutes to Late Night podcast. It's not like the show. We listen to albums on this podcast, and we try to. They're usually bad albums, and we try to find nice things about them. Folks, we're having our 50th episode special, even though it's the 52nd episode, but the Tool episode and
Yeah, the Tool episode doesn't count.
count.
The tournament
Not
doesn't
canon.
count.
and no, the tournament counts, but me and Drew talking about Spider-Man 3 doesn't count.
Yeah.
So welcome to the 50th episode special. Wow, we did 50
Woot woot.
episodes. You guys. Can you believe
Can you
it?
believe it? Yeah, I can't.
Wow.
It's wild.
Also, we're joined again at the end of the Dirty Black Summer series. just welcome back Lucie Steiner.
Hi, everybody. I know I've been away for a while. I decided to drop all my creative pursuits and start a nonprofit that services old-timey Cockney orphans. And so that's been very rewarding and challenging, but it's good to be back.
What are you doing for the Cockney orphans?
I'm just like teaching them how to sing, because how else are they going to get by?
Of course, yeah.
You're making sure each of them has a flat cap.
Yeah.
Yes.
They need a
Got it.
flat cap. They need a shoe shine kit.
Flat caps for boys.
I have a really important question though. When they ask you for more soup, do you give them more soup or do you incredulously go, more soup?
I try to say more soup in as passive-aggressive a tone as possible. So they know I'll give it to you, but you know it's going to make you a little pudgy, right? And then usually they back off.
Oh, but orphans are so cute when they're fat.
Yeah.
You just look them up and down, like just a quick glance down and up, and you just go,
More
more
soup?
soup?
What soup? I guess also what soup are you giving to them that's making them so obese? Like what is this? You're just feeding them gravy. Folks, you're also here with the two other men that are on this podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jeremy Hammond. I went to a wedding this weekend, and I had a delightful little time.
I thought you were going to be like,
Ooh.
and it sucked. They shouldn't be together.
Yeah, fucking dumb. No, I went to
choice.
Boston, and I met the only nice people in Boston. It was great.
You're just
Yeah.
a wedding fiend right now.
Yeah, I go to so many weddings.
Your own wedding, other people's
Yeah,
weddings.
ridiculous number of weddings.
What a summer.
Summer of love.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? This is Drew Kaufman, and the chair that I'm sitting in, I bought it from a dead person.
Oh my God! Cool.
Yeah,
Ooh.
estate sales, dude. They're awesome.
Dude, Danzig would be
Guy,
so
buy the
jealous.
Yeah. Wait, how dead is he? All right. Before we get into this week's album, Lucie, what did you listen to that you liked this week?
Ooh, I rewatched the 1989 Pet Cemetery,
Ooh.
and I was re-surprised, as I always am when I watch the 1989 Pet Cemetery, by the end credits song, I Don't Want to Be Buried in a Pet Cemetery.
By the remote.
Yes.
Yeah.
And every time I hear it, I forget that I've heard it before, and it's always just a fresh joy to listen to.
Yeah. It is really weird that the Ramones have wrote a couple of theme songs.
Yeah.
It's so
yeah,
nuts.
yeah.
Like covered the Spider-Man theme song. That's so weird. What's up? We're the biggest punk band in the world. This song's called Spider-Man.
This is the theme song to Short Circuit.
Is Johnny? Is Johnny?
Jeremy, what'd you do to yourself?
So like I said before, I was at a wedding this weekend, and the DJ closed out the night with, I think, probably the best closing song I've ever seen at a wedding, including my own. Closed it out with "Oh What a Night."
Ooh.
Dude, that
Yeah.
song whips ass.
Yeah, it does.
I never hear it because I don't go to Zumba, but
You don't go to yeah.
it's such a good song. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
I love
about
that you
that
went
song,
through
though,
that. That's like a dad who goes to a wedding and be like, you know what's really good? Marvin Gaye.
Yeah. Never would have thought about it. Oh, there was one thing also. The couple are huge Talking Heads fans, and so it was a lot of Talking Heads music all night.
Oh, hell yeah.
And there was this one couple there who were there's always one at every wedding where it's the couple who are in their 60s who just will not stop dancing, and they're so good and they're so cool, and all night you're just I'm tired, my ankles hurt, I have to fart and I can't go anywhere to fart because there's people everywhere at this venue, and you guys just look amazing. What the fuck? I don't even want to know how cool you guys were in the fucking 70s. This is ridiculous.
Wait, you're holding farts at the wedding? You gotta go to the outside and pretend to smoke or whatever.
Dude, but people are out there, and I got loud farts.
Okay. Go fart in the bathroom and stand
I
there
feel
for
like in
7
every
minutes.
in every dining hall, there's always a third of the dining hall that's dark and not being used, where you can go and reliably fart.
I think that's true.
Well, it wasn't like my wedding. It wasn't like an outdoor scenario where like the wind will take it. You know, like
Yeah.
we were in like a community center in like a very religious Jewish town.
Oh, that's fair.
Jews hates farts.
Oh yeah.
Jews should not hate farts.
I know, we
because
fart
we
so
have
much.
all of them.
Yeah.
If they're in our blood, literally, my blood is farting. But you know, like you gotta be careful where you save your farts because it's like bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I reserve all of my fart saving for just like a Monday morning meeting because there's always one and it's not fair. And you just know everyone in that meeting is just like, we all literally have to have diarrhea right now. That's why everyone's really pissed off and they're like, listen, we got to go over what's everybody doing this week. And it's like, I'm going to have diarrhea after this. Drew, what'd you listen to?
Wait, I just want to point out real quick that one of my favorite things about the song "Oh What a Night" is he's reminiscing about a love that he had years ago, and it's "Oh What a Night," late December back in '63, and so you can really hear in the song how he healed from the death of Kennedy, because Kennedy was just shot like probably 3 weeks earlier, you know?
I spent like a very short amount of time looking up things that happened in December of 1963 so I could like do a funny tweet about it, and I gave up.
Yeah, it's because you should have been looking in November. It was the day the world changed. Johnny
yeah.
K got a haircut.
Oh, what a shot! Also, if you ever read the lyrics to that song, it's very clearly about how he just came too quick. The whole song is just him being like, I remember it was quite short, but man, was it fun.
I think someone has to do "Oh What a Night" as the Misfits. I think that would be pretty cool, because I feel like it's pretty comparable to Bullet. Maybe
Okay.
not at all, but
Nope. Go for it.
As for what I listen to as a human being with ears, I saw this Dario Argento movie I never saw called Phenomena. Have you ever heard of this?
I actually haven't seen that one.
No.
It's Dario Argento, so it's like, you know, if you like horror movies, you're gonna like it. But it's basically 2 hours of Jennifer Connelly talking to bugs and people getting stabbed. And
When did this come out? Jennifer Connelly?
1985. It was right before Labyrinth.
Oh,
She's a baby.
crazy.
Oh wow.
But the weirdest thing about it is that for some reason, the whole soundtrack is Goblin because it's a Dario Argento film.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, there are 2 Iron Maiden songs and a Motorhead song in it.
Sick.
And they're at the worst possible time. Like there's a scene where like someone's getting chased through the woods, like about to get stabbed, and like, oh, this would be a good part for Motorhead to kick in because, you know, it's like a high energy song. But then the Motorhead song starts playing as like the cops show up to look at the body, and then there's like a scene where people are talking, but it's mixed badly. So they're just like talking over a Motorhead song, like you're waiting for someone to turn and just be like, "Hey, turn that music off, dude! I'm trying to be a police officer." It's fucking weird.
That's so
but
weird.
it was cool. It's a cool movie. It's fun.
So you
Got a,
listen to Motorhead and Iron Maiden in a movie?
yeah, I mean, I listen to Motorhead every day, but the new band I found, for those of you at home looking for something to punch your friends to, found this awesome band called Lung Ripper, which is the best fucking name in the world. Lung Ripper, they're from Pennsylvania.
You love Lung in a band name.
I love it. I love White Lung. I love Iron Lung.
Leather Lung.
Did you ever listen to Virginia Black Lung?
No, that sounds up my alley. It's
You
got
would
Lung.
you would definitely like them.
Yeah.
Lung is in
you
the
should
title.
check out Lung Ripper though. They're really dope. They sound like you think they do. They're just like really dumb fucking hardcore. They have a song called Snuff the Pig. You know,
Nice.
good shit to listen to when you're heading to church.
Love that.
Can I punch myself to it?
You can punch yourself right now if you want to.
Sick.
This is America. We haven't outlawed
Nice,
that yet.
nice.
As for me, last night, it was a new podcast host, Kat Jones's birthday present that I got for her was Iron Maiden tickets, and we went and we saw like the Legacy of the Beast tour, and it was insane. They're the greatest live band of all time. Like, no one can fuck with them. You're not gonna have a better time. You're not gonna see like that amount of just like effort put into a stage show. that is genuinely fun. That is also genuinely sick.
Even beyond because before we started recording, we were talking about that Lucy had just gone to see Weird Al, and I feel like those two might be like comparable levels of just pure energetic charisma put into a performance.
Iron Maiden, I've seen both recently. Iron Maiden is better than Weird Al because Iron Maiden is also really funny.
Yeah.
The thing is, no, Weird Al, there's just as much costume changes. They have an equal amount of costume changes and cut scenes and whatever. But the fact that Iron Maiden is also hysterical is Weird Al isn't ripping a solo other than Eat It. The only one
he does he does accordion solos, but that's a different thing.
Yeah,
it is, which
and
is
a
sick.
powerful voice. I mean, Weird Al. I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but yeah, I saw Weird Al recently, and it's it also just the vibe in there. The vibe in a Weird Al concert is it's like you're in an alternate reality where nothing horrible has happened in the last 2 years.
It's true.
We're all still just having fun and making references, right?
That's because no one wants to talk about it, but everybody who likes Weird Al, including myself who loves Weird Al, has been hurt. That's how you get into Weird Al. You have to be hurt.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's so true.
That's for me, I got into I remember using I tried to I got into Weird Al because I was a weird little kid who liked comedy, so that's how it happens. But I remember trying to use it as a bargaining chip to get my parents to let me listen to albums with the parental advisory sticker on them when I was really young. I was in 4th grade and I got Running with Scissors. And I was trying to make an argument about how I should be able to buy the Offspring soundtrack because I was I know what this song actually is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that this is funny if I didn't know the Offspring song.
But if you didn't know the Offspring song, then it's just a really cool song about rabbis, and there's not many of those.
I know.
Wait, did Weird Al ever do an Iron Maiden song?
No, it's a shame.
That's the next. That's probably. He's got such a. How old is he?
Ageless.
Early 50s, you think?
He's still he's got better skin than all.
He looks
I know,
exactly the same.
I'm just thinking of there's going to be a time where Weird Al will decide I'm not going to keep up with, the hits of the day anymore, and he'll start doing concept albums where he'll be this is the Weird Al metal album. This is going to be the Weird Al hip hop album, and he's going to go through classics that he missed.
That is literally never going to happen.
You really don't think
No.
so? You don't think he'll go back and do the
Weird Al
Trooper?
fan fiction
I've
is
never
that, dude?
seen someone so comfortable with just no, yeah, it's the same shit. I'm doing the same shit this time.
He hasn't put out an album.
Yeah.
The most recent song he parodied, I think, is Fancy. And that song is a decade old now, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
No, he put out an album.
Oh, no, he did
that
the
album
Robin
in
Thicke
2014, and it won a Grammy.
Oh, that's
Or was nominated
right.
for Grammy.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, he did
Yeah.
was it Word Crimes?
Word Crimes, yeah.
Yeah, that album was very, very relevant when he put it out. It's just he hasn't put anything out because he's been doing nonstop tours. He toured that album, and then he toured that album again, and now he's doing this new. He did a tour where he only played rarities and old hits, and now this tour he's followed by a full orchestra.
Yeah.
Dude, but how fun would
cool.
it be though if he did that? If he did an album where he does the Trooper and he does like Seek and Destroy or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Why? That's not Weird Al though. Weird Al's whole thing is that he shits on the popular consensus.
Weird Al is everything.
Weird Al
Yeah,
can
don't
be
tell
a-
Weird Al what Weird Al is. Weird Al can be what Weird Al wants.
I'm not telling Weird Al. I'm
Weird
telling
Al is like
Jeremy
Walt
Hammond, you
Whitman.
fucking
Weird
goof.
Al contains multitudes.
Jeremy is out here fantasy booking Weird Al.
Wouldn't it be fun though? A Weird Al Trooper?
It
Yeah.
would be great. We kind of did that.
Yeah. That's literally
Yeah.
what we do.
Kind of. I mean, but we don't write different lyrics and stuff.
Sometimes.
And, a little bit, but I mean, I want to. What would he do? What would the Trooper be about?
The pooper.
The pooper is like the first thought, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be something else that rhymes with trooper, right?
It would be the Snooper, and it's about Snoopy and Peanuts.
Yes,
and Charlie
there we
Brown.
go.
Yeah.
And it'd be adorable.
There it
'cause it's
is.
Weird Al.
The
Yeah.
snooper.
The snooper.
Someone write that.
Or
if you're
a
listening
little
to this
detective.
podcast right now, please someone write the Snooper.
And it starts with like a big metal guitar version of the Linus and Lucy riff. The
We already did that. I had,
We
to,
already did
I had
that.
to do that for the Kerrang video that Drew and I made.
Oh, really?
I wrote a black metal version of the Charlie Brown theme song.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Anyway, Iron Maiden was fucking cool. The dude was singing Flight of Icarus with a flamethrower while there was a big inflated Icarus, and then the ceiling shot fire at the Icarus balloon, and they found a way to deflate it where it looked like he was melting. It was sick. It fucking
Seems a little on the nose to me. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds awesome.
It was awesome.
The thing I love about Weird Al is that he has props, but the thing I love about Iron Maiden is that they have props that are too big.
Yeah, they love a big prop. Like, dude, they always have a guy dressed up as Eddie on stilts who like comes and attacks the band, and then they all have to like fight him while they're like doing guitar solos, and then he will inevitably sword fight Bruce Dickinson. But they have so much fun every single time. Like Bruce, like they were a little off on their sword fight, so Bruce started like making like visual jokes about the size of Eddie's dick to the audience, and then Eddie was like, "Hey, I don't have a small dick," and kicked Bruce
Look at
in
these
the
stilt
ass.
legs. Look at my stilt legs. I've got a long dick.
I've got a long, but that's irrelevant. Is that a man on stilts? Like they worked really hard. Like it's hard to be on stilts.
Yeah.
Walked up to Bruce Dickinson and kicked him in the ass with his stilt leg, and then Bruce ran away flailing between Eddie's legs. It was the funniest. It's the most Looney Tunes shit. The show ended with Bruce hitting a plunger that said TNT. And it was awesome. It fucking rules. They don't give a shit.
That's so funny.
They know exactly what they are. They have so much fun. Like there's stuff where it's like, this is genuinely awesome. It's all also really funny. Like they were doing Fear of the Dark, and he's coming out with a little lantern and wearing like a masquerade mask with like a really long fucking
like a
nose
Sleep
on
No
it.
More thing.
A Sleep No More like face, and like he knows it looks stupid as hell, but he's just leaning into it.
Yeah.
It's great. There's a costume change for every song. He put on a windbreaker and like an earmuffs hat, and it's July. That is commitment to drag. Iron Maiden is my favorite drag queen.
Wait, speaking of actually no, never mind this. But before we move on from the shit we listened to this week, I forgot the other thing that I wanted to mention was whoever it is, I don't remember their name, but the person who made the playlist of all the music that we've mentioned on this show before.
Oh, yeah.
You're awesome.
You're awesome. You fucking rule. Not only because that's just like a cool, like, tedious autistic thing that I would do, but also because like you keep reminding me of shit that I listened to a little while ago. Like I was just like skipping through that playlist, just kind of like fucking around or whatever, and like an Earl Scruggs song came up, and I was like, dude, fuck yeah, I forgot how much I like this. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, you
Adam
guys have probably
O'Donnell.
noticed by
Adam
now, like
O'Donnell did it. He's the best. And he updates it like every day. Like the day that the podcast is released. Even if we like casually drop a song, like he put your stupid 9/11 song in there.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I noticed that, yeah.
Because it was a real bummer.
That's the other fun thing is I noticed that it kind of like my stupid things that I throw into the show kind of like help to make like because our show, like our actual show is like music and comedy. And so because my dumb bullshit is in there, it kind of makes the playlist also kind of function the same way the show does, where it's like it's a playlist of genuinely good music recommendations. And then every so often you get a little laugh.
What you're saying is that you ruin everything, including the playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
That
hanging
9/11
out with my
song.
friends when they say mean shit to me all the time.
That
I'm coming
9/11
through
song
too
is
hard,
not
I'm sorry.
laughable. I just the other day I was singing the 9/11 song to myself. Honestly,
It's
it is
so catchy.
it is a catchy
Look,
fucking song.
No, we're not doing this right now. That was a dark day for me. I was talking to Drew genuinely about. I was like, I think it was bad that we gave that airtime.
Dude, the rest of the album is so good too. Have
Fuck
you ever listened to the
off.
rest
No,
of it?
we're
Oh
not-
no, but I will
No,
now. I
there's
didn't know there was a
no
rest of it.
moon
I'd rather
landing,
get-
one
Oh,
about,
nice.
like,
Let's
Tony
give free
Blair
airtime to
going the
BlueChew.com.
Hague.
Blue Chew. When your dick is going poo poo, take some Blue Chew.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it would be. The ad read for Blue Chew, if we got the Blue Chew sponsorship, we would do the Chooper. It would be the Trooper, but it would be about getting big hard boners from BlueChew.com.
What do you do when your dick is limp? All right, folks. We ran out of numbered Danzig, so we're finishing off the month of July with the first non-numbered Danzig album, Circle of Snakes, which is just the most like late career Danzig ass album title of all time. Like, more than one snake. I don't know. I love them. I love a snake.
He could have named it like a pentagram, but made of snakes.
Yeah, a pentagram of snakes.
I honestly, if there was one thing I didn't predict with this album, I did not know the phrase "circle of snakes" would appear in a song as a simile. I didn't know. I did
It
not
is
know.
similar to a circle of snakes.
What is the line exactly? Something
I can't-
something your face like a circle of snakes, and it's like nothing
Yeah.
is comparable to a circle of snakes.
Yeah, because a circle of snakes is
Except
not a
for-
thing that you see enough that you would compare stuff to.
It's like a circle of spaghetti. No one does that?
I love
Nobody?
that Danzig is not poetic enough to do a full metaphor. He has to go simile. Here's a haiku I wrote. It's called "Fuck You."
It's
We
called
haven't-
"Fuck You, Go Mets."
Danzig likes hockey. Lucy, we haven't done this in a while.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think this album happened?
I honestly think at this, and just hear me out.
Yeah.
I think that you guys deep faked this album as a Danzig album, as a subtle way of saying to me, you never should have come back here. you
What
never
do you
should
think
have
we
come
deep
back.
faked? What do you think this was? And then we threw Danzig on.
I feel like it's some weird combination of like a reanimated and tired Jim Morrison with like some kind of like with the band of youngins that tricked him into doing all of this. But this is also, I don't know, my ears might just be shit at this point, but I couldn't hear most of this album. I turned it up on a high volume, and I swear to God, I couldn't hear like half of the songs on it.
Lucy, I think you just might need to get new headphones. I don't know if it's the ears or the album is loud. We
Honestly,
listen to it.
I might need to get a hearing aid too, because I don't think this is the first complaint I've had about. I just couldn't hear it. I couldn't hear any of it.
It's a fucking loud album. Like I had to turn the album down. I was like, it's gonna
Really?
bother the neighbors. or
Holy
whatever.
shit!
Yeah.
I couldn't hear it. I
Maybe.
think I might have.
Can you hear it when cars beep at you? That's
I might-
important.
I might have a condition, guys.
Can you hear it when we're talking to you? Do you know what's happening?
I mean, I feel like I've sufficiently pretended as if I can hear you.
You're doing a great job of faking it. Lucy, was this the first time you've ever heard like a Danzig thing that wasn't the Misfits?
Oh, like a solo thing? Yeah, this is the first full Danzig album I've heard. It is not what I thought it would be like. I mean, I knew it was not like a great, it was supposed to be a bad Danzig album. But I didn't think it could get this bad. It's,
What did you think it was going to be like, though? I'm
Yeah.
curious.
I don't know. I thought it would be a little bit more like. I thought it would be a little bit less like just like fiddling. A lot of it feels just like he's fiddling on the guitar, and then it's like
it's
a
not
voice
him
comes
playing
in.
guitar.
Oh, who's playing guitar? Because they should.
A person named Tommy Victor, who is, it's this guy's first Danzig album. Danzig hasn't had a consistent lineup for a long time.
Why is that?
Well,
you could
What's
guess.
wrong with Danzig?
Oh boy, that's what we've been trying to figure out all month, and I think I got it. So I've said this a couple of times in the podcast, so I don't know. Hit the 5 seconds button if you've done this enough. So Danzig, after the Misfits, starts like a band called Sam Hain, and then on the final Sam Hain show, Rick Rubin is in the audience and goes, "I don't want to sign these other guys, but I want to sign you as an artist." And he's like, "I want to give you a whole new band," and like it's Rick Rubin's idea that he named the band Danzig. So they talk about it, and Danzig's like, "Listen, I'm just if I have to change the band name, I'm just gonna be Danzig now, in case I have to fire people."
So his band's name is his name.
Yeah, the band's name is his name, but there was a new band that is that's formed, and they're all really good players. Like, it's the first time that Danzig has people who can play their instruments really well, and they write like a kind of like dark, slightly heavy metal, but mostly just like blues rock album, and it's really good. And they keep work, and for like 3 albums they work consistently with Rick Rubin, and they make really 3 classic albums in a row. And then the 4th one starts to go off the rails because Danzig, what happens is the song Mother is Danzig's most famous song.
Yes.
That song was recorded on the first Danzig album. That song becomes popular after the 3rd Danzig album for a live video. It becomes a chart topper out of nowhere. So now Danzig thinks that he's 7 years ahead of stuff. He's like, I'm just beyond what people like. My shit's gonna be huge in 7 years. That's what it means. So he starts to think that he gets like kind of an ego and starts wanting to produce his own albums, and like stuff starts to shift and sound terrible, and then the band quits. And he just is bringing in a bunch of musicians, and it just gets fucking bizarre since then. So the entire month has been us watching Danzig experiment with what Danzig sounds like. And I think what I've discovered is like the consistent fault in is each album we've listened to, the guitars are tuned lower. Every album, they tune the guitars more, and I think it's just so completely out of his singing range. He also blows out his voice after the 4th album. Like, he can't sing the way that he used to. He just literally can't do it. He's been screaming for too long and he's done too many without taking care of his voice. Like, he doesn't drink tea or whatever.
Yeah.
And so his voice is
Self-care,
raw.
Danzig.
His voice is raw, and it sounds like this now, and the guitars are too low, and it's just a mess.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like, when like a TV show is on for too long, and suddenly like the child actor is like 22, and now all of a sudden you're watching season 14 of That 70s Show, and it's about Kelso for some reason, because everybody else went to go do movies.
Yeah.
That's what Danzig Solo is.
Kind of. I think it's like Jeremy brought it up, like when we were Jeremy and I listened to the album together, and you brought up just like, what else is he gonna do?
Yeah.
You know,
like, once you're Danzig for that long, like, Danzig becomes a prison in a lot of ways, where like he's done so many albums about pumpkins and ghosts and like Frankenstein and whatever, that like if he just turns around and he's like, I'm making a Danzig album, but this one's about how dating is weird. Like, he can't do that. He can't do the Danzig album about, like, the closest he can do is like, I love this lady. She's like a sexy, scary cat. You know, like, if he wants to sing about love, he has to sing it through the lens of something that is an accompaniment of a witch. You know,
He
like
gets
if
there,
you,
though.
huh?
He gets there with he has his like newer album. I mean, it takes literally to like Danzig 14, but he has a new, like he has this like country album now where he sings like he does one where he does like oldies covers, then he has another one where he sings just like basically spooky country, but it's not full blown like, you know, like vampires are fucking sweet.
You ever been drinking a Budweiser in the cotton fields and you see a fucking vampire? That would be cool.
You ever go to the movies and then the movie's real? That shit rules. Especially because it's a spooky movie, because that's a movie that Danzig would go to.
He sings his own version of Love It or Leave It, but it's a scary movie that he's talking about, not the country.
Yeah. So we've done 4 fucking Danzig albums already. So we're tapped out. Guide us
5.
through your...
It's 5 now, right?
Yeah, this is now 5. I was saying, like, this is the 5th one. Guide us through your listening experience of the Circle of Snakes.
a lot of it feels to me like when the song is starting, especially. And it's like, I might be flawed in the sense that it's like, I'm impatient. So it's like, the way a song starts, you know, it defines the song a lot to me. It's like, it's hard for me to like just sit down and be like, just stay with it, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of the beginnings of these things, whatever they are, it kind of sounds like, it feels like the moment, like when a band is doing like a cool thing where it's like they start their song with a false take and then they start the real song. Yeah. Like a lot of the beginnings of the songs just feel like that. Like, oh, like they're going to cut this shit out in a second and start the real one. But then they all just keep going. And it's like some of them are good. Like I like that Thousand Devils song.
Oh, Thousand Devils Rain.
Yeah.
Which is really funny.
Thousand Devils dressing. It's good on everything. You could put it on fish. You could put it on lettuce. Thousand Devils dressing. Get it at your local ShopRite.
Like I feel like I could see like you know, like if Leonard Cohen was alive, he might do a good cover of that.
Yeah. I like well, my favorite part about that is that I was
genuinely sad when the Thousand Devils died, honestly.
Yeah. They're all dead now. In that I took you on an emotional journey. A Danzig song with pathos. But no, I like that separately, like Danzig hasn't been in the Misfits for like 30 years. Or they probably haven't even talked since the lawsuit, but separately they both wrote songs that are technically called The Devil's Rain.
It's so funny.
But different. I like that like Danzig wrote a song about like devils reigning as kings, and then the Misfits were like, no, but what if it was like actually literally rain?
I also like that he raised awareness about the degradation of the Skull Forest environment.
Yeah, that one he hooked up with Logan Paul.
I watched the movie Fern Gully, and when the smoke first comes out, it makes a big skull, and I was like, "That's a song.
That's a song right there."
The Skull Forest. Skulls grow on trees like mangoes.
So were you picturing a forest where okay, so when you think of the Skull Forest, picture for me, we'll go in a circle.
Yeah.
The tree, is it that the bark is skulls? Is it that the leaves are skulls? Or is it they are bearing fruit that is skulls? Lucy?
I'm going to go with, this is a trick question. It's all of the above.
Yeah. Piles of skulls.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything, even the dirt
isn't a skull.
Look, we know how many parts of the pie Danzig is capable of making skulls.
Absolutely. We saw that in that music video where the skull has skulls.
Yeah.
And then his skull is a little baby. His skull symbol is a
That's
little...
why he needed your skulls back in the 80s, because he knew that what he was going to use them for.
Yeah, I'm going to make a bigger skull.
It's going to take me 23 years, but Skull Forest is coming to Six Flags Great Adventure.
Come on down to Fright Night.
Yeah.
They pay me once a year.
That is literally what I pictured, though, is I was like, it's Danzig, and he's describing a skull forest, so it's going to be, I pictured literally just like the tree is just a couple of skulls stacked up vertically. And then, like, the branches are femurs, not really skulls, but I think the base, the most of the tree, the bark and everything is just skulls.
Yeah.
Palm tree situation.
I watched a very long time ago, I watched this documentary about Snoop Dogg going to Jamaica to, like, learn about reggae music ahead of making the Snoop Lion album.
Right.
Right. And there's this scene where he's hiking with some dudes, and they find like a wild, I want to say it's a mango tree. They find some sort of wild fruit tree. Oh, it's a grapefruit. It's a grapefruit tree, wild grapefruit tree. And he pulls a grapefruit off of it, and he like cuts it open, and he eats it. And he's like, I finally found it. This is paradise. And then it's a hard cut to him in the studio singing a song that's called Fruit Juice. And the chorus is just him going, Fruit Juice. And so what I pictured was Danzig in that exact same scene, picking a skull off of a tree, looking at it like he's Hamlet. I finally did it. This is paradise.
But I having never heard the song Fruit Juice, I imagine it's sung to the tune of the Flintstones. Fruit juice, tasty fruit juice. Snoop Dogg picked it off a fruit juice tree from somewhere in Jamaica. Let's go back to talking Danzig 3.
Let's ride with the Snoop Dogg down the street.
Oh.
Wait a minute. The Snoop Dogg down the street is not the Snoop Dogg that's
No, different Snoop Dogg. There's two different Snoop Dogs. They both live in Kingston. One is in the studio making the song Fruit Juice. The other one is down the street. Just hanging out. Yeah, he's just
drinking fruit juice. Oh, God.
Anyway, I look forward to that turning up on the playlist.
I hope that Adam puts the Flintstones theme song on the playlist too. Because that theme song slaps, dude. He eats a fucking dinosaur rib. Flintstones rule.
Yeah, dude.
When are
but
they
back
going to
to
remake the
Danzig for a
Flint?
second.
Oh, they should remake the Flintstones with Danzig as Fred.
Oh my god!
And he looks at the
Who's Barney?
He looks at the giant. He looks at the giant rib that they put on his car, and he's like, "You know what's inside of there? A fucking sick bone."
What's up? This next song is called Big Bones.
I feel like Danzig thinks that all bones are skulls. Like,
Yes,
I feel like
yes,
if he was
yes.
rollerblading and fell too hard, he'd be like, "Ah, damn, I broke my arm skull." Ah, shit. I broke my pinky skull. Now I can't play keyboard. Folks.
I Want Your Skulls is about him needing an organ donor because he also thinks organs are skulls.
I got stomach skull cancer. It's bad. It's real bad.
God damn it.
I burned my
Okay.
skull hot gluing.
Here's something about this album. So Lucy, basically what you've kind of missed is that first 3 Danzig albums are the best. They're listenable. Then they start to go off the deep end as Danzig steals more and more from what's happening. So like your late 90s Danzig starts to get like industrial and new metal. And so he steals a bit from Fred Durst, steals a little bit from like fucking everybody, right?
Now I'm just
And so-
imagining Danzig going through a semisonic phase.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Danzig indie rock would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Danzig doing Father of Mine.
Father of mine, oh, where have you been?
We used to listen to the AM radio.
Dude, how funny would it be if you saw an interview with the Everclear guy and he's just like, yeah, my dad's actually a good dude. I'm a fucking artist.
But you know what's weird about this album is like I was reading about it and that they kind of somebody was like, hey, no more of this bullshit trying to like sound like everything. Let's go back to like the Danzig roots. But this album came out in 2003 or 2004.
2004.
2004. So basically what I think really happened is that music started to lean towards Danzig because all those bands that were inspired by him as kids are now playing. Like, I mean, like 2004, you're talking about like metal and the scene being huge again. And so like this is the same time that like when we had James Munoz from the Bled on, he said that he was asked to tour with Danzig. Mm-hmm. So I think what's actually happening is Danzig is kind of a little bit like ripping off what's contemporary, but the contemporaries are like inspired by him because like Skull Forest, there is that weird fucking Mars Volta guitar solo that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Every guitar solo on this album is Mars Volta. Like it's just meant to make noise because that's what guitar solos were in the early 2000s.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But then there's also like the song that I had the most fun listening to was Hell Mask, where it's like just a straight up like thrash metal song, but sung by George Lucas. That song rules.
Wait, so is this album and your perception of it? Because you have like I have zero context for this. Is this at like the end of the decline? Is this at like kind of midway? Like what's happening? Like, is there like...
isn't an end of the decline. Let's just get that right out of the way.
Yeah, he has not come back around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think very shortly after this is when that video takes place where he's like up in that dude's face being like, fucking punch me, bitch. And then the dude punches him and he gets knocked straight out.
Oh.
You know that video?
Yes, we have the infamous video.
Lucy, have you seen that?
No.
Danzig getting knocked out.
I always feel so bad for the guy who puts everything on the line, like punch me, and then he just gets so easily punched.
He's the original Bagel Boss guy.
Yes.
Oh my God, he is.
Oh no.
Danzig is Bagel Boss.
But in Danzig's world, the bagels are skulls.
Let me get a skull with locks.
Yeah, give me an everything skull.
You know what? Actually, we're gonna go to brunch after. Let me get cinnamon raisin skull, strawberry schmear.
You want to shoot me in the skull or shoot John Lennon in the skull? Go ahead.
You're not God or my boss or my skull.
Danzig 100% went on eBay and Googled John Lennon's skull thinking he could buy it.
Yeah, for sure.
I got a coupon. 10% off in May. Whole month.
Free shipping. Come on. It's already broken.
Dude, it's very fun how doing a Danzig impression.
Slow burn.
Doing a Danzig impression, you're very much at risk all the time of accidentally doing a Bernie Sanders impression.
Oh my God, you're right. They do have the same voice. They're both
We
from.
need to take back the skulls. I was
These
born
millionaires
in Lodi,
and billionaires
New
are
Jersey.
hoarding skulls. The youngest generations, they're not getting their fair share of the skulls.
We need to break up the big bones. No one needs a FEMA. Only 1% of the people have all of the marrow.
Damn it!
Who is this for?
I don't know, man. I also don't know who this album is for.
No, I don't know either.
I think it. Sorry, go ahead, Drew.
No, I was just saying, like Lucy said, is this like the start of the decline? I think this is the start of his irrelevancy. I think this is really like where you really see like Danzig start to show his age, and he's just gonna keep making the same stuff over and over again, and people start going to see him only to see the first 3 albums and maybe a Misfit song.
Is this his most recent album?
No, he's had a
What's
few
that?
after this, right?
Oh,
He's had a few after this. I have a theory on this that I think it's Danzig Danzig 3, reading about Danzig 3, like I'm now putting into context like some stuff that I read about it, is that like if you listen to How the Gods Kill, there's the intro where it's just him and the guitar very softly. You can hear this weird fuzz every time like Danzig starts singing, and it's because you can hear the preamp behind him. Because Danzig was like, they were like, that was a really good take, and Danzig was like, good, I'm not doing another one, and they did it. So like, you know, Danzig 3 was like, they famously were like, we got that album done faster than anything else, and I think it's really that Danzig hates the recording process, and because it sucks. Recording an album fucking sucks. There's nothing.
Yeah.
You just are. There's really just nothing fun about it. You're just being miserable. You're like splicing takes together so you feel like a fucking phony. It sucks. Album recording sucks. So I get it, and I think that that's kind of why he like became his own producer. He's like, I think at this point, he was like, he just wanted to make it easier on himself, and I just don't think he cares. I don't think he gave a shit after like the fourth album, because he's in his fucking 40s.
Yeah.
And he just wants to tour, and he's like, I'll put some cool shit. Like, it'll be fine either way.
Yeah, there's a certain like there's a ceiling and a floor of Danzig like fans, right? And there's like a certain number there's a certain level of fame that Danzig will never pass. No matter how good of a Danzig album there is, Danzig will never pass a certain threshold because there's certain limiting factors, right? There's certain things about him that are always going to keep him from like a certain level of mainstream success, right? Because he's spooky and he's weird and he's from New Jersey and he's short and he's Italian, and there's like a lot of things about him that are always going to keep a ceiling on his potential fandoms. But I think there is also a floor. I think there's a certain number of people who, no matter what Danzig does, they're still going to turn out for him. He's still going to sell tickets no matter what year it is. Danzig's always going to sell tickets. And I think this is the time of his career where he kind of comes to grips with that and says, you know what? There's a window of people that I'm playing to, and I don't have to do that much to keep playing to them.
Danzig is the Weezer of metal. All you have to do is replace Asian woman with skulls, and every Weezer song is a Danzig song.
Yeah,
You know that song, I Want Your Asian Woman?
Yes, but I think that's true for everybody. Like we're trying to shit on him, but I think that everybody just kind of hits this spot.
Yeah.
I think there's a part where you reach an age, because it's just a part of being older when you know that you're not what you used to be. But I feel like every aging musician tries to, you know, you have to make a choice. Like, you know that you can't do what you used to do. So it's either you try to just churn it out and do the best you can for the fans that you have. That's why every fucking song on this album has a goddamn pinch harmonic, because they're like, yeah, it sounds like the John Christ album,
it sounds
right?
like Danzig.
You want
It's
a
good
pinchy?
enough, yeah.
Yeah. Snake of Christ, right? Me. This album's called Snakes. Might as well put the pinchies in. But I think everybody, I think every artist like goes through this, and you know, there's that, but they lose fans either way.
Yeah.
Like if you change to adapt to your age, like there's every person on the planet exploded when David Bowie died, and you know everybody was. Everybody was full of respect for him. Like, I think it was one of the rare instances of unity on the internet.
Yeah.
But you know, fucking 10 people have listened to Black Star.
Yeah.
It's a cool album.
It was there was a certain type of person who was really into Black Star when it came out, but it was a very select type of person. You're right.
And it is cool, and it is like technically good, but it's just not. It's not. What
nobody had
wanted.
cared about David Bowie for a very long time before that. People had forgotten about him. They weren't paying much attention to him. He'd show up in a movie and you'd be like, wow, he's so handsome.
Yeah.
You know, but like other than that, like David Bowie, yeah, you're right, like hadn't been the same person for a long time.
Yeah, I think you end up in the same
There's very rare
situation.
instance, though, where something does happen. And I think that, interestingly enough, Danzig is related to this. Johnny Cash, the late career of Johnny Cash is like an absolute anomaly in that way, where like not only did he like gain a ton of new fans, but also like a different type of fan than he'd ever had. You know what I mean? Like he'd spent like most of his career as like a bread and butter country guy. Like country fans like Johnny Cash for most of his career. There's like some rock and roll spillover because he has kind of an edgy image because of like the jail stuff and the middle finger picture and whatever. And then he goes away for a long time. Then he comes back with the help of Rick Rubin and does the American Music Collection. And then he does the cover of Nine Inch Nails. And you always remember it, I feel like, as he dies and then that song blows up. But that song was huge for like a little while before he died. Like people were really keen on that. Well, and I think it's like this rare, and it's not like related to Danzig in any particular way, I guess, but it is like the rare instance where like somebody who is so old. I mean, he was like, what was he, like 100? He was so old at that point.
He was a million years old.
He was so old.
Guys, this is a very deep investigation, but I just want to say I can't leave here until you promise me that all of our favorite artists will live forever.
We were just talking,
or else I'm going to be very sad, and I don't like being sad.
Before we started recording, we were talking about Eric Clapton, because somebody had said online something about Eric Clapton having a bunch of bands. This is related. Wait.
Okay.
But I was looking at his Wikipedia page, and he's like 75, and then I was looking at Jimmy Page, and he's like 76, and like all these guys are like in their 70s, and out of nowhere I just was like, holy shit, like the next couple of years are gonna be an absolute like just shit show in terms of like aging rock stars dying. They're all right in the zone now.
Yeah, but
it's gonna be a
do
massacre.
that fucking Stan Lee thing where they're gonna live to be like in their late 90s, and then people you really like are gonna die too early, and you're like, why the fuck is Jimmy Page still alive?
He's making cameos in that band's music videos.
Yeah.
What's that band? The one that we did the thing.
What?
The kids who sound like Led Zeppelin.
Greta.
Yeah, he's making cameos in Greta Van Fleet albums.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
To be honest, speaking of cameos, that is why Johnny Cash got big at the end, because he was basically he was having other people. That was the story of it, is that Johnny Cash was having songs written for him by like Danzig, or he's covering Nine Inch Nails, and it's like, wow. He's adapting it and making it cool, and it's kind of like how it's like Old Town Road with Billy Ray Cyrus. Like how Billy Ray Cyrus is relevant because he did this
when's
song.
the last time anybody thought about Billy Ray Cyrus and didn't think about Miley Cyrus first?
Yeah, well, Miley Cyrus, that's the thing, is like Miley Cyrus is her own thing now that is so separate from her dad. When she first came out, that's all anybody talked about.
Right.
And now she's her own thing, and you forget that they're related. Mm-hmm. So he had to go and be a part of someone else's
I thought they were
song.
married. I was like, good for you, Billy Ray. Get him young. Oh, fucking kill me.
We get our hair bleached at the same place. But that's what I think it is like, you know, it's like you get your final moments, like it's like Kenny Loggins and Michael McDonald being on.
Or it's like Walk Hard. It's just like the movie Walk Hard.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's literally Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins were on the Thundercat album that everybody was talking about, and that was, you know, it got them like a bunch of attention, and that's probably just gonna be how they go out. Like they're not gonna have another like killer record at the time, you know. You played the shows to the people that love you. I think it's like life in general, where you just eventually you hit a certain age and you just narrow it down to like, all right, well, these are my people. These are the friends. You're not gonna fucking reconnect with anybody when you're 60.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
What about, you know what's interesting though is like everything that we're saying, the opposite of that is Weird Al. Weird Al is going to make music until the day he dies because he's always relevant and he's good at what he does. But I think what's interesting is that like every time I've seen Weird Al a couple of times, and every time there's less and less kids, because unless your parents introduced you to Weird Al, I don't think like, I mean, there's always going to be weirdos, but I don't think that like modern 10-year-olds are listening to Weird Al.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like
Oh,
Weird
yeah.
Al is still very much exactly like he has his age group, and it's us. And we support Weird Al every time he puts out another album because we fucking listen to Top 40 radio, and then we enjoy the joke he makes about it.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. My favorite sighting at like the Weird Al concert was just like a father like our age and his like 10-year-old daughter who he had like obviously just like spent 10 years just like dorking up to the max.
Yeah.
Specifically so that she would appreciate Weird Al.
That's the thing, though. Parents, you gotta let Weird Al be found on his own.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, there's nothing worse than like a child who hates Weird Al because their father.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be so.
I don't like Weird Al, Dad.
Wait, it's gonna be so great when they make like the '90s version of Dazed and Confused, like when our generation is finally like prolific filmmakers and whatever, and they start making like nostalgic '90s shit, and it's just like somebody like standing outside a bowling alley as Weird Al plays in the background.
That's literally happening right now. It was in Stranger Things.
Well, Stranger
Oh,
Things is the
shit,
'80s were
yeah.
very close.
But still, the Weird Al references in shows are already there.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Oh, do they reference Weird Al in Stranger Things?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
There's like Weird Al was hawking the shirt that is worn of him in the show on his Instagram.
That rules.
Oh,
Yeah,
He's
dude.
in an episode of The Goldbergs too, which I've never watched, but I follow Weird Al on Instagram.
Right.
The whole thing. The Goldbergs is like a television show that's supposed to take place in the early 80s, and so Weird Al plays himself, and they like, I think he dressed up like he did in the 80s to play himself.
Yeah, because he's ageless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, being a vegan and doing split kicks while listening to fucking presidents of the United States every day will do that for you.
Yeah. That's the
Did
thing.
he play Gump? I love Gump.
Well, that was the other thing.
When was the last time anyone watched the movie Gump? Forrest
What?
Gump, right?
Oh,
I haven't
right.
watched
he's
it in
Gump.
a million
Right.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Academy Award-winning movie for some of like the most marvelous special effects at its time. Completely forgotten about, but I will totally listen to Weird Al sing about it at any point.
It was like I was thinking about that type of thing because I've been peeping home movies again, and I forgot that there's a golf episode where McGurk is Will Smith in Bagger Vance.
Yes, yes.
So much
Oh my god,
Bag of McGurk.
dude, that show is so good.
This
Home
show
Movies
is
is
so
so
funny.
fucking good.
It's the fucking funniest. It's a brilliant idea. Like improv a script and have someone animate it. It's great.
Real quick, I'm just curious about. I just want to open up a dialogue.
Yeah,
I
go
have
for
this
it.
This thing.
Go.
So it's like, we're getting older. The stuff that we like is getting old. I like dumb, heavy music, and starting to see less and less like people that are younger than me at these shows. Like, what do you think the next 20 years of like heavy metal is going to be? Like, do you think that Converge is going to become Iron Maiden? Like, are there going to be fucking, like kids getting into them now that are very, very young and excited to see them when they're in their 50s?
No, I think that Converge is going to become Minor Threat.
Oh, so they're never going to play another show ever again?
Well, they're just gonna yes that. Well, they're just
Yeah.
gonna have the legacy for the fans that appreciate it. Like, yeah, no, like people are like heavy metal's dying. Well, like not that kind, yeah, but there's still like, or it's not even that it's dying. It's just that it's for different people. Like, still
Totally,
mainstream metal still exists. Yeah, it's like completely fine. Like, Avenged Sevenfold will become Iron Maiden. They already are pretty much. Even though like they probably still sell a lot of shit. I haven't heard from them in a long time. That's just because I'm not paying attention. But I don't pay attention to a lot of things and stuff still happening.
Yeah. When was the last time you paid attention to Israel, dude?
When my parents loved it. But I don't know. I think it's we're at a different spot. It was you know, I saw Iron Maiden and last night, and it was like, you know, there was more people at that Iron Maiden show than were at the Weird Al show that we were at Radio City Music Hall, because there was some empty seats there when we went. Yeah, of course. And people still love Iron Maiden, and it's literally this old guy behind me was like talking about it, like, can you believe it? People are bringing their kids to this shit. Like, there's a lot of children in the audience who are probably gonna. It's because of the way an Iron Maiden show works. It's probably, if I fucking went, I would love to have seen Iron Maiden as like a child, not because I care about Iron Maiden now, but just because I'm like, there's a fucking giant puppet.
Yeah.
Like sword fighting a man, and then there's just like exciting shit going on, and it's also funny.
Yeah. If you
Like-
want to get your kids into music, like, live music is the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I saw Green Day, the first time I ever saw Green Day. I think I might have talked about this on the episode we did about Green Day, but I saw Green Day in 1995 when I was 7 years old. I was way too young to go to that show.
Right.
When my dad took me to that show, and, like, I genuinely think that it's why I ended up loving music. It's why I ended up, like, being in bands and being into punk music and being into metal music and being into everything that I'm into, is because I saw live music so young. Like, you can't just sit a kid in front of a record and be like, listen to this, you're gonna love it. They're never gonna love it. If you bring them to a show, there's like lights, there's fire, there's like dudes running around, and in the case of, you know, Iron Maiden, there's puppets, you know? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot to fucking see there.
Well, that's a fair point.
That's the
Because-
exact reason my parents took me to so many Frank Sinatra impersonator concerts. Now I'm a huge fan.
Look at him. He looks just like him, but Slavic. I want to be that when I grow up.
Because the first concert I ever saw, I was like 13. I was too old. I was old, and it was. I went to Audio Slave, like.
Yeah.
So it was like the same. It was like two things that I liked as one thing that wasn't my favorite, but whatever. Like, I remember my parents showing me the music that they liked, because it's just music that was in the car. I now appreciate it, like. Now that I'm older, like, now I like the Rolling Stones and stuff, but and even like some Cream stuff. But I remember, just, you know, you grow up with like cars that have CDs in it. It's just your parents leaving a CD in the entire time because they're tired from being a parent.
Yeah.
And that CD is playing forever, and you're like, fuck, can we listen to anything else? And your family's like, I don't fucking know. I haven't been able to buy a CD in forever. So it's just a weird cycle.
Yeah. This
know?
comes back to the beginning of the show, because that song for me was Oh What a Night. My mother loved that fucking song, and it was on in the car all the goddamn time, and I've hated it I hated it when I was a kid, never wanted to listen to it, and then I heard it at this wedding, and I was like, holy shit, that song whips ass.
Yeah.
Fucking, you know.
That was like the Dire Straits for me. Like, they were just on in my mom's car so much, and then until I was like 18, I was like, no, this whips ass. This is really fun.
One last thing. I don't remember if I ever told this story on the podcast about how at my engagement party I almost got in like a fist fight with a guy over the Dire Straits. I don't know if you guys know this story, because you guys
Jeremy,
had left already.
Yeah, I like you so much more now.
You guys had left already.
No, you're gonna hate him because I know that it's because he probably didn't want them to play the Dire Straits.
No, it had nothing to do with playing the Dire Straits. It was because I was talking to my friend Nick outside the bathroom. We were waiting to pee, and we were talking about the Dire Straits, and I was like, I really love that song, Sultans of Swing. I don't really know a lot else of theirs in particular. I know that one from like all the soundtracks, Romeo and Juliet, right?
Yeah.
But I know those two songs. I don't really know much else. But I could imagine I probably wouldn't like it, just guessing from those two songs alone. But I like the Sultans of Swing a lot. I just could imagine a scenario where I wouldn't like the rest of it, right? That's all I said.
Mm-hmm.
I go pee, I leave, and about an hour later, I'm going to the bar to find my sweatshirt, which I've left on the chair. And this guy is wearing it. Just some dude at the bar at Old Stanley's is wearing my sweatshirt. And I'm like, hey, I can't help but notice you're currently you're wearing my sweatshirt. Could I have my sweatshirt back? And he's like, oh yeah, you left it on the chair, so I thought it was just a sweatshirt that was here. And I was like, no, usually when somebody leaves a sweatshirt on a chair, it's because that's their chair and they want to come back for their chair later. And he's like, no, I don't think that's how that goes. And I'm like, no, that's definitely how that goes. you're in any event, you're wearing my sweatshirt. Please, can I have my sweatshirt back? He's like, I think it looks better on me. And I'm like,
Jesus.
I'm like, well, I just bought that sweatshirt like a week ago. Please, I'm at my engagement party. Can I have my sweatshirt back? And then his like shithead friend shows up, and his friend's just like, yeah, why don't you leave him alone, man? He looks better in that sweatshirt than you do. Get the fuck out of here. And I like have to like go outside to like all of our friends, and I'm like, hey guys, this guy like stole my sweatshirt. I don't know what to do. I don't want to get in a fight at my fucking engagement party.
Yeah.
The end of the story, after like a whole bunch of bullshit of trying to get this sweatshirt from him, the end of it ends up being that he takes it off for a moment. What is he? DP? What is he?
Rob
Menzer goes to the bathroom and puts it on, and then puts another sweatshirt on over it so nobody knows where the sweatshirt is anymore. And then he just like scoots off and leaves for the night, and they text me, he's like, I have the sweatshirt, don't worry about it, it's out of the scenario. And then our friend John Rosenberger, who is the biggest man that we know, goes up to this dude who's been giving me grief all night, puts his arm around him, and is just like, listen buddy, I know this is your bar where you hang out, but you're going to have to leave my friend alone, okay? And he's like, all right, giant man. But anyways, the whole thing... Oh, wait, but the way that the Dire Straits key into this is that his friend re-instigates the situation, because at some point the dude with the sweatshirt is like, I'll give you your sweatshirt back. And his friend is just like, don't give it back to him. He was talking shit about the Dire Straits. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I heard you by the bathroom saying that they have no good songs but the Sultans of Swing. And I'm like, that is not what I said. I want to be clear. I did not say they have no good songs but the Sultans of Swing. You said that. And he shouldn't give you your fucking sweatshirt back because of it.
Oh, my God.
To be fair, now I want to steal your sweatshirt.
Yeah, man. What kind of sweatshirt was this?
It's like an Oakland Raiders shirt that I got at like some thrift store in LA when I was there the week before getting engaged.
You should have let him keep it. That sucks. That fucking sucks, dude.
It's a cool shirt.
Also, for people listening at home, just so they know, John Rosenberger is, if you watch episode 4 of the show, the Hard Melissa episode, if you watch the B-Pal ad, John Rosenberger is the guy who stands up behind me and says family while pouring a glass of whiskey.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
the nicest dude on the planet, but I would be terrified if that guy came up to me and I didn't know him. And just so you know that he's 100% legit, the dude has a needlepoint in his house of Hatebreed lyrics, which is awesome. Dude is legit.
Lucy, if you could get a needlepoint of lyrics from any album we've listened to on this podcast, what would it be?
Wait, what's a needlepoint?
Like a
those
sewing
rings
embroidery
that have
like a sewing
the
embroidery,
words, like a Home Sweet Home type of thing.
like an embroidery of any lyrics.
Oh my God! Of course, it's I want my anger to be healthy.
Yeah.
What else could it be?
Yeah.
Oh, your vulva with everything on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It comes back to those two albums.
I'm
always
trying
does.
to.
Those two albums podcast.
I know we could do the worst idea of all
Your
time, but we
vulva
just
with
listen to
everything
Saint
on
Anger
it.
every week.
I think that's the
God.
lyric that I'm trying to unneedlepoint from my heart and mind.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
day.
Your vulva with everything on it.
Yeah.
Jesus. Lucy, do you want to start with favorite songs?
I think 1,000 Devils Rain is my favorite on the album. It's fun. It's cute.
Yeah. What
There's
did you
1,000 devils. That's the perfect amount of devils.
Based on this album, I'm just curious. Would you say that Danzig has a good voice, only judging it from this album?
No. I would say that he has a bad voice. It's unfair because I've heard him on singles, so I know he has a good voice from those singles.
Yeah.
But judging on this, I would go like, no, like if he sounds sick. He sounds like a sick man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sounds like a grandpa ordering a sandwich.
Yes.
Every song. I'm in a hell mask.
What is on
What
the
about-
hell mask?
It's capers.
Just capers.
Nothing
Cape-
else. Nothing else.
Cape-
Nothing else. Just a
Capers and
sandwich.
mustard.
Yeah, and then I just drop it right in the toilet. I don't even chew.
I don't even digest. These don't even touch my lips. Straight in the toilet.
I just like going into the shop and hitting the flush. Jeremy, favorite song?
It's between. I like the intro genuinely.
Yeah, the intro is actually
The intro
really
is
good.
pretty tight. But I also liked Skull Forest.
You just like the title.
Yeah, I like the title. I liked the image. It's fun to think about Danzig out there in an orchard picking skulls with like a piece of hay in his teeth, skipping through the trees.
What?
Danzig getting
Isn't
deloused
it
in the
skull-
skullatorium.
It's not
It's like a
Skull
skull
Farm.
orchard. No, it's an orchard. Yeah, he's on an orchard. They're growing skulls to make skull cider.
Yeah.
Angry orchard. I like it because it's like me. An orchard.
Angry and also an orchard.
I'm full of apples.
Drew.
My favorite? Okay. You know what? My favorite on this album is going to be a controversial one. I think Netherbound is my favorite song on this album because it's the first time that I've heard since Danzig blew out his voice that isn't ashamed to sing. And he
Right.
really goes into it, and his voice is completely gone, but he still tries.
Yeah.
And the rest of the songs, I feel like he's kind of hiding. So I say respect to Netherbound.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is I noticed that that's the only song where the vocals aren't buried in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just the guitar riffs so loud.
And you know me, my favorite thing with Danzig is when he goes full like spooky Pavarotti, but like I respect to him for trying this.
like a Blood and Tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song rules. We gotta have Lucy listen to Danzig too, before she comes back on another episode.
Oh yeah.
I think you weirdly will love it. You're gonna be like, this is something else.
Yeah, I mean, I have loved Danzig, and I feel like I'm capable of loving him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are
Let's
the
do
only
it.
woman to ever say that.
My favorite song it was When We Were Dead because the intro riff is great and I thought the chorus was actually pretty catchy.
Yeah.
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 Fuck yeah.
And it's
I would
also
listen
I
to this
really
album again.
what?
I would listen to this album again, I think. This one and 4, I think I'd listen again.
All right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe not.
I'm not gonna fight you on it, but that's crazy.
I think this was a hard listen, but
Yeah.
it's definitely I think it's the easiest to listen to since 5 because the vocals are buried. It's a shame, but I don't know. You heard his voice. It sucks.
Yeah.
I wish he still had some pipes. I think he should also sing in a regular key because the drop tuning. I think he thought that the drop tuning would help
Yeah.
disguise some of the hurt, but I think it just amplified it at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Plugs. Let's do plugs.
Yeah.
Lucy, plug what?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Steinbag, and you can also listen to the podcast I co-host with my fellow comedian and lover Ray Kump. It's called Our Love is Disgusting, and we talk about our disgusting love for one another and love in general,
And love in general, which is disgusting.
which is
Yeah.
gross.
Find me on Twitter at Jeremy Thunder. Check out Ballin' Out Super. And, sing the Flintstones song to yourself, but to the tune of Twist of Cain. Hey, we're the Flintstones. Hey, we're the Flintstones.
That's not the
Modern
Flintstones
Stone
theme
Age
song.
family.
That's not Flintstones or Twist of Cain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy's just having a stroke.
Jeremy was just doing an impression of a car horn.
It's Flintstones to the tune of Twist of Cain, right? That's what I said.
Yeah, no, it was neither of those.
No.
Yeah, no. That was wrong. Hey, what's up? This is Drew Kaufman. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at diet_Hellboy. You can also follow my photography Instagram. It is at Drew Kaufman Photography. Also, you should check out, if you play guitar, if you're a noodler, if you're a person with fingers that hold picks, you should check out Abominable Electronics. They make cool pedals. Me and Steve Brodsky and Rob, who is a defender of sweatshirts, we made a bunch of pedal demos. They're all done. There's like 25 of them. You should watch them. They're really funny and they're fun. And even if you don't buy the pedal, you'll have a good time. We did one where Steve plays the Super Mario theme song like it was the Star Spangled Banner. And it's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. You should check that out. Abominable Electronics.
Are you guys putting out any more of them?
I just did the last one. It took me 7 months to finish all of it. And on that note, I'm out of freelance work. So if you need a video editor, hire me. I'm so broke.
Jesus Christ.
Also, if you're looking for a cry for help, that was one.
Folks, follow my cry for help. All right, yeah, please follow 2 Minutes to Late Night on Instagram at 2 Minutes to Late Night, on Twitter at 2M2LN. Donate to our Patreon at honorableswords.com.
Honorable.
Honorable swords. And then yeah, I don't know, follow my dog on Instagram at Great Hambino. I have a personal Instagram. I don't do anything with it. I don't do stories. I mainly just do stuff about my dog, so just follow the dog Instagram anyway. I guess that's it. Can I get a skulls with pepperoni, cheesy bread? That's it. Goodbye.
I like the cinnamon skull.